So this has to be a pretty exciting time for you.
Absolutely. I mean, as I said to the presser just now, we're going northbound. It's hugely exciting. I mean, I'd always wanted to work for the TTC. Never in my wildest dreams, really, all those years ago, in 1993, did I think I'd ever actually end up running it. But you know, I'm honoured. I really am. It's a huge network. It's got lots of fundamentally fantastic features about it, in that you've got such wonderful integration between the modes. Hi, how are you? It's got such great integration between the modes. Places like Spadina, St. Clair West. I was at Kennedy the other day. I think people sometimes don't realise how fortunate Torontonians are to have a system that's so well integrated, in that you've got subway, streetcar and bus all within the same complex, all within the paid area, and all on the same ticket price. You don't get that everywhere. I think it's fundamentally fantastic, but there's a lot to do to bring it up to sort of, you know, 2012, and that's what I see as a key part of my job.
What's the biggest area where you think TTC's lagging?
I'd say one of the areas is, I'd have to say, modern management practices. One of the reasons I was brought in was to bring a focus to what you might call operational basics. That's really focusing on just the day-to-day things you've got to get right, but you should be aiming to do that better every day. So I always say you should make every day your personal best. And I certainly want the staff to do that, and you know that they do a great job. But I just want us to show incremental improvements so that customers very quickly see tangible improvements. So this isn't just lip service, it's not just flash in the pan, but that we are serious about getting the TTC back to where it should be, which is one of the world leaders in transit systems. We want to put the pride back.
And the TTC gets a lot of flack for customer service in particular, right? That interaction between the rider and the frontline personnel. How do you fix that?
I think one of the issues for me is to regain the faith of the travelling public, our customers, by showing that no, we're not going to fix everything overnight. You know, we're not unrealistic. There's a lot to do. But if we can just show that we are serious about making improvements, about using taxpayer and rider money as efficiently as we can, about tackling obvious deficiencies, then I think customers will think, well, okay, they are making a difference, and they will accept that some of the improvements might take a bit of time. What I'm keen to do is tackle those things that need to be sorted out right now, and not waste any time on getting on with that. And we've already done some of that with the litter picking and cleanliness improvements that we've made.
I mean, you kind of described the change in job title as about showing a change in culture. How do you deal with the fact that there are some fairly antiquated practices still in place in the TTC?
Sure. Same as I dealt with in Sydney. You've got to properly consult with the unions. Obviously, the unions have a job to do, and I recognise that. But equally, they've got to recognise I've got a job to do. And I've been pretty upfront to say that we need to change. There are certain things that just need to be brought into the modern era. So there will be changes that we want to make, both structurally and in the way we go about the actual delivery of service. That's something that I intend to speak with the unions about over coming months.
Was there a practice that you saw when you first arrived on the job, or were you even looking at Toronto from the outside and you kind of shook your head and thought, I can't believe they're doing that?
Well, I guess the most obvious in many ways will be that the actual means of payment is quaint. I love it. I love all the tokens and stuff. But it's now 2012. We really should be moving to a more modern method of people paying their fares. Customers want smart cards. They want to be able to pay with debit and credit cards. So to me, that's one of the most obvious candidates. Now, Presto's on the horizon. That is the smart card system that we're going to roll out. I want to make sure that's done as quickly as possible, but we've got to get it right. So we will make sure we get the detail right on that. That to me is one of the most obvious changes that needs to happen.
And you mentioned, you know, it is at the end of the day still a political job in a way. Do you think you can be that person to bridge the animosity between the Mayor's office and the Transit Commission?
Well, I certainly recognise that there is a political angle to the job. You know, in any CE job, there's going to be politics involved, and I think particularly in transit, you do tend to get drawn into the politics because everyone has a view on transit. You know, at the end of the day, pretty much everyone has a view because they're paying to get from A to B. It's a means of getting to work. You know, everyone's got a stake in transit. I think people genuinely want transit to succeed. I've been overwhelmed by how many people have said to me, good luck in the job. which is great. But I'll be very clear that my job is to offer advice to the policymakers. What they then do with that advice is up to them. They will make a decision based upon the facts, some of which I will be giving.
But wasn't some of the concern with Gary Webster that he was giving advice that the politicians didn't like?
Well, certainly that's the way it's been portrayed. I'm not going to be. That's one thing we're going to fix, by the way. We do have a fix, and I want to get that. That to me is a basic. The squealing brakes has got to be fixed. So
how do you fix that?
We think we've identified what the root cause of the problem is, and we've got something that we'll be doing to the trains progressively to stop that. It's unacceptable. Back to the point about politics. No, I won't hold back from offering my opinions, but those opinions will be based upon fact. They will be partly my own views, but also that fed by given to me by my experts. Now, again, though, I'm quite clear though that if I then give that advice to the mayor's office or the chair's office, they are the policymakers. They will determine what they do with it. So I see no real risk in that. At the end of the day, that's what I'm paid to do.
This is a big part of it, right? I mean, having modernized vehicles?
Very much so. So within 2 years, we'll have an all rocket system, all rocket service on the Young University Spadina line. So the whole of the YUS line will be served by these trains, and then we'll progressively roll the older trains, the T1s, onto the Bloor Danforth line. So there'll be benefit to both services. First thing I always do is have a look and see if there's any garbage. So this is going, which is why I carry a rubbish bag around with me.
You actually do?
Absolutely. I can't stand seeing rubbish on the trains. So, I mean, obviously we're asking our customers to do their bit as well, to use the garbage bins that are on all of the platforms. But equally, we're now doing litter picking at Kennedy on the Bloor Danforth line and at Finch on the Young University Spadina line, and the reason we're doing that is to make sure that we're doing our bit, so that at least the trains aren't carrying the same garbage up and down all day. So in the off-peak, when the trains are less busy, the trains get litter picked. If the staff get time, they also spot mop the trains as well. Just bear with me 1 second. Excuse me, madam.
Is this the kind of thing you'd like to see more TTC managers doing?
I would, and to be fair to my management team, they do that, and I think I need to set a good example and lead by example. That I want to offer my customers a clean, pleasant service, and not just on subways, by the way, but also on the streetcars and the buses. But also, I think I've got to lead by example, and I think customers notice the fact that you've got a name badge on. They're paying my wages, and I should be providing a service. So I have no problem in picking up garbage.
How different will the TTC be 5 years from now?
I think it'll be fundamentally different, actually, in that we'll have modern trains, so the rockets will all be rolled out. We'll have a smart card system for customers to pay their fares. We'll have the extension up to York on the Spadina line. We will have new streetcars, the new low-floor streetcars that are being rolled out. But to me, it's not just about brand new kit. It's also got to be about how we interact as managers and as staff, and the practices that we use, the management practices, and the what goes on the stations and on the system as well. You can't just rely, in my opinion, on new equipment to transform the look and feel of the TTC. And if we had all new equipment, but it was the same slightly bureaucratic, stuffy organisation, then I don't think we'd have completed the job. So building on what I have to say is a fantastic legacy, it's not meant to be critical of what's gone on before me. I believe that we can make this system one that Torontonians can be proud of. And that's certainly my objective, and I think 3 to 5 years is entirely achievable. Hi, good to see you. How are you? Good to see you. Right, we'll jump on this. So this is a T1 train. These are the second newest, if you like, after the rocket. So these trains will be cascaded onto the Bloor Danforth. They're very reliable trains, actually. So the Bloor Danforth line, I wouldn't want Bloor Danforth customers to see themselves as the poor relations. They will be getting inherently more modern and more reliable trains. The reason we've gone for rockets on the Young University line is it's the busiest line, so we need the additional capacity.
What was it about the TTC that made you say you want to work there?
Well, I suppose partly there's I have a real draw to Canada. My wife's Canadian, she's from Ottawa, so I think I always wanted to come and live in Canada. It's a country that I love, and I've always enjoyed coming to Toronto, but seeing the TTC to me is just sort of a compelling challenge, because on the one hand it is this fantastic integrated system with operating all of the modes, so streetcars and subway and buses and wheel trams, and it's unusual to find one transit company that operates all of the modes. But equally, I did see a huge opportunity for a turnaround here, because rightly or wrongly we do have this reputation, this poor reputation, and I want to be part of the team that turns that around.
Well, it's an interesting time to be there, right?
Hugely so. I mean, obviously, interesting in that we've got all the new equipment coming. We've got the Pan Am Games on the horizon, 2015. We've got to get that right. It's a big event for Toronto. But also, obviously, the politics are fascinating at the moment, and I try to stay out of that as best as I can. But certainly, the TTC is in the public eye.
It strikes me as really interesting, though, only sort of in this job as interim chief general manager for a few weeks, and everybody just had universal praise for you, up to the mayor's office, who you talk to staff and they say that guy is a huge breath of fresh air. What a change.
Right, and obviously I'm flattered by that, and I think the challenge for me will be living up to people's expectations. I'm my own harshest critic. I drive myself very hard. I work long hours. I want to do well for the TTC. I really do want to advocate for the staff as well. I do think they have a difficult job, and most of them, 99% of them, are just fantastic. In any big organisation you'll get a few people maybe that shouldn't be doing the job, but most of them are absolutely good as gold. So certainly it's there's a lot of expectation out there. I don't intend to let people down. I will do everything in my power to make this a success. A lot of my time has been spent on the subway so far, but I certainly intend to give equal time to buses, to the SRT, to streetcars as well. Obviously the customers are as important in those areas as well, so I try to spread my time between the different modes.
Do you ever just want to grab, senior managers and say, let's ride this bus and find out what people are talking about?
Yeah, sure, and we do that. We do our Meet the Manager sessions, when we've got one tonight actually at John Mills. But one of the changes I am making is we have a weekly executive meeting, and I said to my senior management team last week, why do we have all our meetings at Davisville? We should have a rolling program of road shows, meet the executive out in the depots and the garages and the maintenance facilities. So starting in April, at least one of the meetings per month will be held out in the field. I want us to be a highly visible management team, because we've got to be showing overt support to the staff, but also challenging mediocrity where we see it.